Okay, we are live with the one and only Billy Felo, owner of Masterful Mechanics. We got a topic you guys will definitely want to pay attention to today. So let's get into it. How do you transfer skills from practice to the game? Huge topic, a huge area of discussion, not just something physical where you can just go do a drill and practice it. How do you transfer skills? Because it's all from the neck up. So that's what we're going to dive into today. We've got Billy Felo, owner of Masterful Mechanics here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Billy has played professionally, collegiately, business owner. Billy, why don't you introduce yourself quickly, and then let's jump into it.
All right, Sam, thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to doing this. I think this is a great platform to get information out for not only youth players, but for collegiate and even adult and pro players and athletes who need help with the mental side of the game. So what brought me here, I just played baseball my whole life. It's my passion. I love playing. I love coaching. So I decided to start an instructional company called Masterful Mechanics Baseball, like you said. I kind of just fell into it on some suggestions from people I knew that wanted me to train their kids. And I was like, why not? You want to pay me to, play baseball with your kid and have fun on a baseball field? Sure. And then it turned into a passion of mine to start coaching and really, hone in on not only the physical skills of the game, but also the mental side.
And you guys that are watching this, whether you're watching it live or you're watching the recorded version, something that Billy just said to me backstage, that if you really want to know where to get your information from, he said he started a YouTube channel, which is great, which is awesome, putting out valuable information. But he said, I'm doing it for kids that maybe can't afford lessons, or for kids that just want to learn some things on their own. So he's coming from a place of genuine sincerity, that he actually cares and he actually wants your kids to get better. Because there's a lot of coaches out there, not only in baseball, not only in softball, but in a lot of sports that are just about this thing. They played maybe professionally, they played maybe collegiately, and it's a crime because they get into the business of coaching and teaching, and all they care about is the money. And the money's important if you have a business. I understand that. The money's important to keep the doors open. But if you're doing what you're passionate about, what you genuinely care about, it's going to transfer to the kids. It's going to transfer to the parents, and it's just a carryover effect. So just know that he's coming from such a genuine, warm, sincere place. But how do you transfer skills from games? I have a ton of thoughts on this, but when working with kids, man, where do you start?
So this is a loaded question,
It's a huge question, man. I know.
You could ask this to 100 different coaches and probably get, 100 different responses. The biggest thing for me, everything we're going over in practice, in our lessons, in our trainings, we're thinking about what we're doing. We're taking our time. We're really focusing on the mechanics. We're focusing on what we need to do to get, our body where it needs to be. To perform how we want it to. So in the lessons and in practice, we're thinking about the mechanics, but that transfer to the game, there's way too much going on in a baseball game or any other sport to think about mechanics, to think about, I need to be, my arm angle's here, my bat angle needs to be this. During the game, it's just too fast. There's too much going on. So I like to be consistent with the mechanics in practice. And I tell all my athletes, and for myself even, when you get to the game, you just got to kind of just let it roll and just play the game like you know how to. And all your practice and all the repetitions and your routines leading up to the game they're going to allow you to just be able to play without thinking about the game and just going out there. And I think a big thing is having fun and being grateful that you're on the diamond and you're able to play this game, or any game really, and just kind of letting your body take over and taking your mind out of the equation in game.
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. The game happens, any sport happens way too fast to just say, okay, I'm going to worry about this part of my swing or throwing or catching a ground ball, whatever the hell it is. Do you, I want to go down a different rabbit hole here, though, because do you believe that there is a different mindset? So there's a practice mindset and a game mindset. But here's the caveat: is that oftentimes players have this practice mindset, right, where they're developing their skills and they're open to learning and trying new things or developing a different part of their game. So they have this really good mindset for practice where they're open. But when it comes to the game where things really speed up, where it's really fast, it's foreign to them because the game is moving so fast. They haven't practiced that game mindset. So do you think, I agree 100%, there needs to be a mindset in practice for skill development, for all of those different aspects of developing skills. I 110% agree. Do you believe, or do you think that there also needs to be time in practice for working on your, let's say, game mindset or game focus, where it's moving fast?
That's a good question as well. So that's a really good one. I think, like I said, with the mechanics and everything, focusing our technique and practice is great. Maybe we can devote a portion of that to practice, and then the last maybe half of the practice or the last quarter of practice. Okay, now it's game mode. Now we go into, okay, you're taking live BP, you're taking live hacks, you're throwing to, you're pitching to a catcher, and we're going to try to simulate a game. It's hard to simulate the pressure and the speed of a live baseball game unless you're actually playing like an inter squad or facing a live hitter with live at bats. But we, like in a private lesson, for example, a 30-minute hitting lesson, we could do 20 minutes, focus on your mechanics, focus on your technique. All right, this last 10 minutes, let's forget about all that and let your body take over. Focus up, take your time with breath work, which is a whole nother topic we could talk about. Your breathing is huge, and being able to relax yourself and play the game how you want to. But yeah, for maybe that last 10 minutes of our private lesson, we can say, all right, let's simulate. This is a live game. All right, don't think about your mechanics. Just let your body take over.
Yeah, that's such a important part, man. And you probably play games, you probably have little competitions, little things like that. Just to transfer the focus from that skill development part to actually competing, because that's the big thing when they get into the game. They got to learn how to compete.
Sure.
But there's all of these emotions that I face, that you face, that players face, whether it's going into a game, whether it's going into a meeting, whether it's jumping on a live stream, whatever it is, whatever, there's always obstacles, there's always blocks, and it's probably a little bit different for everyone. Let's switch gears and talk about that fear and that anxiety and that pressure. So I'm a big believer in there's different types of athletes and different things that they're playing for, as far as what generates that pressure, what generates that anxiety. But a big question I hear from athletes, or I see from athletes online, or even in person, when I used to coach in person, is like, how do I stop from getting nervous before the game starts? Because a lot of players, they go to their team practices, they work out on their own. Maybe some don't work out on their own, they need to. That's a whole different topic, that. But they put in all this time at practice, and then they get nervous, and it takes away from their performance. So, what do you say to a kid that comes up and says, how do I stop from getting nervous before the game starts?
Another good question. I can tell you came prepared, Sam. These are some dingers, dude. For nerves, that's a really good one. I think a big thing is, like you mentioned, why did you start playing this game, or any game, or why did you start your business? Why did you start this podcast, or why did you start whatever your venture is in life?
Yeah.
You did it because, you you found your passion and you wanted to follow that, and you started and you did it for yourself.
Yeah.
Not to be selfish, but I started playing baseball because I love the game, and I kept playing because it made me happy, and now coaching makes me happy as well. So I've continued to do that. So what I tell players is when they get to the game, not only about the breath work, which we can go into, that's a whole nother topic, but just thinking about why you play this game. And it should be for yourself and to make you happy. And nerves are going to be okay. Nerves are going to actually make you perform better, to an extent, if you can harness the energy and the power from those nerves and kind of utilize that as your focus. So my nerves are normal, know that, and know that you're playing this game to have fun and for yourself, and also now for your teammates as well. So you can utilize those nerves and put them into your direct focus into whatever it is you're doing, not just in playing a sport, but use your nerves or your a little bit of anxiety or whatever is normal, and just know that, and know that you can utilize that as your concentration for the task.
I agree, man. And we have to be really aware as parents, as players, as coaches, that, players are motivated. Players get those nerves from different things.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Harvard psychologist who's passed away, who actually broke down motivation. And this is really specific. This is so clear for athletes into 6 different categories. Well, it's actually 3 categories, and each one is broken down into 2. So, you have your athletes that play for others, right? They play for their teammates, they play for their parents, they play for their coaches. You have your athletes that just strictly want to dominate, right? And they either want to absolutely dominate in an individual sense or their team sense, or they're trying not to be embarrassed, right? That's on the same spectrum. The power, those would be the power athletes. And then the third type is the achievement type, where those are the skill development people. Those are the skill development athletes. Those are, they really work on refining their skills in practice. And the only person that can beat themselves or beat them in the games is themselves, right? If they didn't execute their skills. So, just based on his model, right? David McClellan, who's arguably the guru, he's the authority on motivation, right? Harvard and a number of books and all that good stuff. But there's 66% of the population that easily gets nervous, right? You're afraid of letting down coaches. You're afraid of letting down teammates. You're afraid of letting down your parents. For parents, for not frustrating your parents, we see it all the time in youth sports where parents put so much pressure on kids to perform, whether it's because the parents paid all of this money for lessons, all of this money for teams, all of this money for travel, whatever it is. Do you think that we're spiraling out of control in youth sports and the pressure that kids get from their parents?
Dude, you really came prepared, man.
I mean, that's just off the cuff. That's not a pre-prepared question or anything, man. It's just,
that's big. So, well, to start, the crazy thing is I've seen professional baseball players get nervous and get anxiety and barely able to function because of their manager or a coach, that's constantly in their ear, whatever,
100%.
Even during the game, I've seen it, especially pregame,
Mm-hmm.
A manager and a coach's job during pregame, during a game, their job is just to be there and control, the roster, the lineup, the pitching changes, whatever. Their job isn't to coach and try to tell the players what to do during a game.
Yeah.
During a game, you just got to let the players play.
Uh-huh.
And I've seen pro guys get almost like frozen, with fear because their manager, oh, I'm taking you out if you make another error. And then what do you think happens the next inning?
Yeah.
Next inning.
Even high school.
Which is crazy, But I've seen it happen. Go ahead.
I can empathize so much, man. It's because because you put the pressure on yourself, but you feel like your ass is on the line.
Right. And it's
If I
not
mess
fair
up,
to
I
play.
might not play for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
And
right?
this is my career, like my salary.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
play baseball. So if I make an error, I might not be able to get my contract and not be able to put food on the table for my family.
100%.
One other discussion to have. But I think going back to your question, I think it helps to put things in perspective. So baseball is a game, right? If you perform poorly, you strike out, you walk the house. No one's gonna die. Your family still loves you. At least they should. Your friends and your teammates are still gonna love you. At least they better. If they actually care about you, and that's the type of friends and teammates that you want, they're still gonna care about you if you make a mistake, even if you lose them the game, whatever. Baseball is just a performance realm. It's not life or death. So I think putting that into perspective really helps. Even putting into perspective, like, for a kid, if I don't perform well here, I'm still going to leave, be able to go home and freaking get on fort, and like my mom's going to make me a nice dinner. I still have family. I still have a roof over my head. So you put those things into perspective and be grateful that you can even play the game, even if you shit the bed, it happens.
100%.
But people are still going to love you and respect you and, be with you even if you fail on the diamond. And even off the diamond in the work, performance realm, if you lose your job or whatever, your family's still going to love you. So there's always a saving grace, and there's always something to be grateful for. And I think that helps me calm my nerves for performance.
Agreed. So having kids just know that before the game starts would help them just calm those nerves.
Yeah. A great pregame talk for the coach would be, hey guys, we worked so hard in practice, and you guys worked your asses off, and you're supporting each other. You put in so many hours, and now we get to go out and see the fruits of our labor. So just go out, have fun, play for yourself, play for your teammates, play for your families, and go out there and just have fun and play the game.
Play the game.
That's all pregame talk should be, not this is the big game, we need to win this, to make playoffs. Like, nah, it's just another game. It's just another day, to be thankful that you get to go out there and play baseball or whatever sport or whatever your performance realm is.
There's an entrepreneur, business owner who's pretty popular. Most people have probably heard of him, Gary Vee. He says he wakes up every morning, and this guy is on the run on social media everywhere, all hours of the day, giving big speeches, $100,000, $250,000, $1 million speeches. And he says he wakes up every single day and he thinks, he runs through a scenario that the worst thing possible happened to his parents, his wife, his kids. They all died. They're all sick. And then he snaps back to reality and he realizes they're all healthy and they're all fine. And he said that relieves the pressure of all of that stuff. So I don't know that's the answer for athletes, to run through a scenario where like your parents or your loved ones go through a tragic situation, but exactly like what you're saying, man. We're so grateful just to be out here doing this thing, man.
Exactly. Maybe, that might work for some people. Everyone's different. Another exercise that might work is to have a gratitude journal where you kind of just review what you're grateful for and just journal it. You can write it down, type it up, whatever. Put it on your phone. But it's something that you can look at every single morning and you can see what you're grateful for. And that could help relieve, some of your anxiety, because you see what you're still going to have, and the good things in life are still going to be there despite how you perform, good or bad.
I agree 100%, man. There is a study done, and Tony Robbins shares this pretty frequently. They monitor your brain waves, and they monitor, there's just the physical reactions of your body, and actually syncing up your gratitude and your emotions in your brain. So just, the physical side and the mental side of things. When you're grateful for things, like you said, there's actually science behind it that says you can't be stressed out. You can't be angry. You can't be nervous. You can't be fearful when you're thinking about, or when you're, like you said, if you go to a gratitude journal, there's actual science behind what happens inside your body physically when you're grateful or when you're practicing that gratitude. So I think a gratitude journal is a beautiful thing to have, an incredible thing to have. So what about for kids that says, oh, I'm too cool for that, or oh, I don't need that, man?
That's a good question. I mean,
everyone's different, you know.
Everyone is different. It doesn't take like a physical journal if you kind of just want to think about the things that you are grateful for. But for anyone to be, you know, above that is kind of ridiculous, even though there are going to be some kids and even adults that are like, you know, that's beyond me. I don't need that. But like you said, not only is there science behind it, but I can attest to the fact that, you know, when I'm feeling grateful and I try to, you know, think about the things that I appreciate in life, you know, I just feel better physically. I have more energy, more clarity, more mental clarity. My body feels better. You know, everything just kind of flows
100%.
a little better. So for the kids, you know, that never have done it, that's okay.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like 10 minutes every day. It can just be like 30 seconds.
Right.
Think like, okay, I have my family. Today I get to eat like this bomb ass breakfast that my mom made, you know, and then maybe I don't even have to go to school because we're online. So I get to chill in my PJs all day, you know, even though kids need that social interaction, but, you know, they like to stay home too. So hopefully, yeah, like you're saying, I hope we can try to convince, you know, the kids who think that it's not going to work, maybe just to try it for a week and then see how they feel. Yeah. Because, you know, the only or the best way to convince yourself of something is to do it and feel the benefits and the reactions of it.
To actually experience it, for sure.
Exactly.
100%. I've another technique too I've heard is like having an anchor. So this one's might sound a little bit odd or a little bit off the cuff, but an anchor, like for example, someone carries around a rock, like just a little tiny rock, right? Mm-hmm. And it, you know, to put it in your pocket or put it in your bag, if you're a baseball player, or just somewhere where you have it, and it's just an anchor. So like when you grab it or when you look at it, when you feel it, the only thing you associate that rock to is being grateful, is gratitude. So it's similar to the journal, but instead of writing it, it's just like a visual and a physical thing where you touch it, and it's like, oh, okay, you know, let's rethink or let's relive some of those things I can be grateful for.
That's a great idea. And then that engages multiple senses. You know, you can feel it.
100%. Maybe even it's like a baseball in their bag, or maybe it's like a you know, specific baseball, or like I don't know. Like you
know, kids like to take apart baseballs. You know, they can just the leather from the ball. You know, like cut off a piece of it so it's not, you don't have to carry around a baseball all the time. Cut off a piece of the leather, or like a string from your glove, leather, something like that. An old batting glove.
That's a great piece, man.
That's a cool idea.
Well, we're getting into some advanced techniques here, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously, some really advanced techniques. Like professional guys have little things that they do like that, you know. Mm-hmm. So any youth player that can do that, man, you're gonna accelerate your game even quicker. Imagine as a youth player, you just got that little nugget of information, and instead of getting tripped up and stressed out and freaked out about a situation, because you and I both know that when you're stressed out or you're pissed off and you spiral out of control as an athlete, that can last the rest of the game, multiple games, multiple weeks, multiple months. I've had stretches in my career, man, where I spun out of control for months at a time. Mm-hmm. It's not a good feeling. But if you have a little technique like that where you can get back to it quickly, I mean, how valuable is that, man? That's invaluable.
That's huge, because it translates to real life as well.
100%.
Because when you're having, I mean, let's just be honest. When you're in a slump, when you're having a stretch of some bad games, your family knows, because, you know, you're not going to be as cheerful when you're not going to be as easy to communicate with, and that's just how it is. But as athletes, we should strive to, leave whatever happens on the field and not let that impact our day-to-day life off the field, especially our relationships with our family and friends who are going to be there for us. There's a cool technique I read about called treeing it. So like a tree.
Okay.
So it was started in like Aboriginal cultures, but this guy, Terry Orlick, is the author. He wrote about it. He's a sports psychologist. If you never read his work, dude, he's amazing. Like, he's changed my life.
Nice.
He's got some really good books. But yeah, treating it just a simple exercise where, you can get a group of kids or just one kid and like, a kid that had a shitty game. You say, all right, so, there's this tree or dugout or whatever, fence, anything by the baseball field. So we're going to take all of your stress and all of your anger, your resentment, whatever from that bad game. And I want you to take it out, like physically, freaking just take it out of your chest and put it in this tree, or like put it on the fence. And now it's gone. It's left you. Now you can leave the field. And now it's not a weight on your shoulders anymore because you literally just like took that weight off, put it in the tree, it's gone. Or like put it at the bottom of the swimming pool, whatever.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I've heard of things like that, like putting it in a box and
Yeah,
throwing it in the ocean or whatever. So that's great stuff, man. But let's throw this website back up here, man. It's awesome to have you on here, man. There's so many different rabbit holes that we could go down. But let's see, there was anywhere from about 12 people on here. There's a couple people on here right now. Anyone that's on that wants to ask a couple of quick questions, let us know. I put up Billy's website down below, masterfulmechanicsbaseball.com. Even with the pandemic and everything, he's still able to do personal lessons. He does everything from the bottom of his heart. Is there so for people that may not know you, what's one thing that you might want to leave them with, or let them know before we jump off here?
Well, okay, obviously everyone, is aware of 2020 and what's going on and how it's been tough on people, not only physically being separated from people, mentally it's been tough. A lot of people are struggling with mental illness right now, and that's a really tough subject. People are struggling financially. 2020 has been tough, but for me, 2020 has actually opened my eyes, and I don't know if I would call it the best year of my life, but I would call it maybe a transformation year for me, where this is the first year in my entire life I didn't get to play baseball, which was really weird.
Yeah.
Really weird. Like, I mean, I'm talking from the time I was 4 years old, playing. I'm 31. So
that's a huge shift.
However many years that is of playing baseball, I didn't get to play at all this year. But that taught me that there are things outside of the baseball realm that I enjoy and that really add value and meaning to my life, mainly being my 3-year-old daughter. Her name's Mila, and she lives in Florida with her mom. So there is some distance between us. But with all of my free time in 2020, not playing baseball, I was able to spend even more time with her than usual.
That's beautiful.
And it kind of was like an awakening that, okay, I do have something after baseball where this could be a topic for our next talk. But life after the game or life outside of the game, how do you define yourself after you're done being an athlete, which a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah, 100%.
And 2020 has actually really shown me how I can make an impact with my coaching. I started writing more, doing videos, mental training and baseball training videos. So just showing me that, there is life outside of baseball or outside of sports or outside of work. There's more important things than playing baseball, where I never really thought there would be anything more important than playing baseball, other than my family.
Yeah.
Now I have a lot of things to be grateful for, not just the game.
It's a beautiful thing to find, man. 31 years later.
Right? I can't stay away, man. I cannot stay away from this game.
Can't. For those of you that want to check out Billy, obviously his website is right here. He has a blog talking about habits and confidence. He has a new YouTube channel with drills and tips on the mental game. They can access that through your website, right?
Yeah, yep. The links are going to be found on our website, even for our social media as well. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're pretty active on Facebook, a little bit on Instagram, trying to get the Twitter game going. But yeah, the YouTube's big because there's a lot of training videos on there that can really help kids, especially now that they can't get out and practice with their teams, or even maybe like they can't get out to a facility, you know, with the restrictions. So it's drills that they can actually just do at home, you know, if they have a bat and maybe some wiffle balls or a net, you know, to hit into. They can practice right at home.
Excellent, man. Billy, awesome chatting with you.
Thanks for having me, bro. I had a lot of fun.
We'll see you soon.
All right, brother.